All right, so in this video, we're going to go over the second declension, or what is often called the Omicron declension because of the prevalence of Omicrons throughout all the forms. So this is mostly going to be masculine and neuter nouns. However, there are also some feminines, but the feminine ones do not follow a different pattern, fortunately. It's a different story for first declension. So we're going to start with a masculine noun. A pretty common one, pretty basic, is gross. Okay, this means field. So if you were to look gross up in the dictionary, as we can do online, gross, okay, you will notice right here we have the nominative form, we have an oo and a ho. So going back to our whiteboard, I can explain what those are. So it said gross, and a comma, an oo, our accents, a comma, and a ho. Okay, this is our nominative form. Okay, this is our genitive ending. This is going to tell us what declension it is. This os ending is not enough to tell us that this is second declension. We are also going to need the genitive because we are going to find some third declension nouns with an os ending that have a different genitive form. And then the ho here tells us that this is a masculine noun. Ho is the nominative, singular, masculine form of the word the. It's called the article. And ho will always equal masculine. Always, always, always be masculine. So let's go over the declensions. So if we have nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and vocative. And I've gone over those in another video if you want more details as to how those function. So we have singular and plural. A nominative, as the form is in the dictionary, is gross. The genitive, we're going to take off this os ending, okay? This os, this is our nominative sign. So we're going to go grew. As we saw in that dictionary entry, the oo is our genitive ending. So now we need a dative ending. It's going to be grow. Okay. Note this iota subscript here. This is very important because the iota subscripts, while we don't change our pronunciation to include them, they can alter word meanings. And then we have grown, and then the vocative, which is not very common. It's going to depend on what you're reading. It's going to be quite rare to see gray unless somebody is addressing a field directly. But it does happen. The vocative occurs. I'm not sure about addressing a field directly. So then we've got our plurals. Agroi, agrown, agrois, agrus. And then our vocative is going to be the same as our nominative, agroi. Context is going to give us this. However, like I said, vocative is rare, and I'm not sure anybody has addressed multiple fields in Greek literature, but you never know. Anyway, so these are our forms, and I'm going to point out a few patterns to you. So first, you'll notice on the genitive and dative, singular and plural, we have circumflexes appearing. We also have iotas happening in the dative. Iotas are going to be a sign for the dative throughout all the cases, and they appear in different ways, but that iota tells you, hey, we're in the dative. Also notice one thing that's nice, so when we do plural in English, almost always that is done by tacking an S to the end of a word. Obviously there are exceptions, but we have sigmas and S's here in the dative and accusative plural. And that's just kind of nice for us as English speakers. However, no, we have the oi and the own. Those are also plurals, so that doesn't follow this pattern. It doesn't go with this coincidence. So we also have neuters. And these look a little bit different. I'm going to leave agros up here because I want to show you how they compare. So I'm going to write a little bit smaller, singular and plural. So we're going to go with dendron, which means tree. Okay, so nominative is going to be dendron. And then we have dendru. And notice the accent mark is not at the end of the word here. We only get the circumflexes when the accent naturally falls at the end. And then we have dendro. And then we have dendron again. These are the same form. Every single place that you find a neuter, the nominative and accusative are always the same. And then the vocative is also going to be the same. So it's dendron. And then in the plural, we have dendra, dendron, dendrois, dendra, and dendra. Notice again, nominative and accusative are the same. That is going to be important to remember because you're going to get confused. But if you can remember that in neuters, and this applies to all cases, in neuters, nominative and accusative are always the same. That will help you remember that that can be an option too when you're trying to unpack and unpuzzle your sentences. So, real quick, I'm going to go ahead and use these in a few sentences just so you can kind of see how it can work. So, we'll start with an example for the nominative. I'm going to say, makros estin ho agros. Okay? The field is big, or big is the field. Now, Greek can do their word order differently. So in English, we need to identify what's going on and then reorder the sentence for English word order. And this is a very tricky thing in translation because you have to figure out how much can you rework the sentence without losing the meaning. So we have os, these are nominatives. Nominative means subject. And this is our linking verb here, just is. So we can say big is the field, but in English that is awkward. So flip it around, the field is big. So a accusative example, I could say, and I'm going to invert the word order on all of these just to show you that Greek isn't restrictive and to show you where Greek does require some order. So ton agros, ton agron, blepo. I see the field. This is our direct object. It is the accusative case. Then I can say meno, this is going to be a dative form, in to agro. I remain in the field. Now remember I said that Greek can kind of flip word order around. There are some restrictions. For this sentence, at least, there are always exceptions, but for this sentence, this unit needs to stay together. This unit here is staying together. There are words that are allowed to get inserted into these places, but this is still a unit. and needs to stay together in some form. And then a genitive example. I can say ek tu agru ek bino. So, and this would be out of the field. Out of the field I go. I step out. So I step out of the field. I'm walking out of the field. So notice in both of these examples, I have given you prepositional phrases. Prepositions in Greek can take different cases. En takes the dative. Ek takes the genitive. There are also different ones that will take the accusative. And the preposition can change meaning based on what case it's taking, and that's where dictionaries are really going to help us. For the moment, it's a little awkward to do a bare genitive or bare dative with this word that makes sense. So I'm giving you examples in prepositional phrases. We can also do this with the neuter. You've got the dendron was our example. So I can say to dendron blepo. Okay, so this here, that could be nominative or accusative. However, context is what gives us the information. So this is I see, right? This omega here, I see. So the todendron cannot be nominative because we have a first person verb here. I am the subject, not the tree. So I see the tree. It has to be accusative. I can also say that the tree, here's an example with the nominative. Todendron fue. Okay, fue is to grow. You'll notice this is our third person singular ending, right? So, since this is all we have, this is our entire sentence, we need this to either be nominative or accusative. Well, what's growing? In this case, it's todendron. It is nominative, not accusative. Context is what is going to give that information. And we can make it work with a prepositional phrase. I can say kathizdo in to dendro. Okay, I sit in a tree. Or we can add some complexities. We can make a more complex sentence. We can say Pharaoh I carry to tone carpon dendro. So this is a little anomaly of Greek. Remember I said sometimes things can get inserted between the article and the noun, and this is an example. So what this is I'm carrying the tree, the fruit. So we look for the accusative. The accusative is tone carpon, fruit. So I am carrying the fruit of the tree. In this case, you can translate this genitive being of. All right? So I carry the fruit of the tree.